lecturers from NDA here. And because of my background in explosives, he was able to develop a template which was given to NUC, and NDA became the first university in Nigeria and even beyond that does explosives at the postgraduate level, because they were able to use the partnership between DICOM and NDA, DICOM being an industrial complex, NDA being the academics. And I played a vital role because I already had the knowledge coming all the way from University of Maiduguri. So my MSc thesis, which is on the board there, was synthesis of a sugar composite propellant for rocket propulsion. At that time in the department, it was even said it was not possible to use our table sugar that we use in drinking or we use for food to make a weapon. But by God's grace, I was able to show that that can be done once you introduce an oxidizer. That's anything that has oxygen locked up in it. And we produce what we call a sugar propellant. I am not the first on the earth to do that, but it's just that it was always used as a hobby, just for children to play. They call it candy because they were using a method, melt and cast. But that method does not give thrust. Thrust is the weight over the weight of the propellant and how it can be able to exceed the center of gravity of the earth. But I was the first person to show that we can also use it for our military weapons, and that's the computer-simulated weapon that we produced. A physical copy was also produced, and that MSc thesis became one of the best from Faculty of Science 2019. It was presented to General Ebadi as the then Commandant as one of the best theses from that department. We showed by computer simulation and mathematical calculations, and we were able to attain an apogee. Apogee is the height from the ground of the earth to how far it can go in altitude. We achieved 729 and 721 and 761 meters. So you can see that they are close, one from the computer simulated environment, one from mathematical calculations, which shows that potentially this weapon can be used for infantry operation, close quarter battles. That was what was suggested there. This is the propellant being tested, static test, because up to now we do not have a standard energetics laboratory where we can get a strand burner to do this static test, and it's one of the projects I intend to sell to the Commandant and NDA management that we can institute here, and that will give NDA a very strategic advantage. Then my PhD thesis, which by God's grace I've completed internal, waiting for external now, was to come back and look at that, yes, the propellant, the sugar propellant, can fire or propel a small infantry rocket. But we had this, the propellant had a fundamental problem, which is that it absorbs moisture. And any weapon that absorbs moisture is not a good military weapon, because soldiers don't, the military do not go to battle every day. Sometimes they want to store their weapons. It means that if we use the propellant the way it was, by the time you come back after maybe 6 months, 1 year, you want to use that weapon, then that weapon will not be able to fire. So my PhD thesis focused on how we can eliminate the natural moisture characteristics, the hygroscopic nature of the propellant. And by God's grace, we successfully was able to block. We discovered that the moisture, sugar was able to absorb moisture simply because of what we call hydrogen bonding. And because of that hydrogen bonding, it will always absorb moisture from its surrounding. So we used a plethora of materials, and one of them showed promising. And we even submitted for a patent, which I will, at the end of this presentation, ask NDA, the Commandant and the management to take over that patent, because we become first in the world. Until 3 months ago, I realized, because I've been checking the internet constantly, that the Brazilian military, they have sugar more than almost everybody in the world, are also attempting to use sugar as a military weapon. So for my PhD, I began, and because of my background in military tactics, that's one of my hobbies, and I've learned it for over, I've even published on military tactics. I always do my research, and I discovered that around Kaduna, close to where I'm living, that's the first diagram there, I was able to pinpoint what I call a bandit superhighway. That superhighway goes all the way to Zamfara, connects up to Niger State, and then come close to Kaduna City, and then pass to Abuja using Buhari axis. So